Hello, and welcome to the School Leadership Show. I am Jen David Lang, and boy, is my co-host Mike Dowdy going to be disappointed to miss this one. I am very sorry he's not here, but I am thrilled to announce that we have the renowned Todd Whitaker with us today. I first found Todd's work in the early 2000s when I was just thinking of starting the main idea. I read What Great Principals Do Differently and thought, wow, all principals should have this book in their hands. Little did I know how much of an influence Todd would have on educators all over the world for many years. Todd is one of the most influential thought leaders in our field. It's clear how much he values students, teachers, leaders, and just our profession overall. I can feel that in every word that he writes and says. He's a leading expert on staff motivation, teacher leadership, and principal effectiveness, and he's written so many books that even me as a former math teacher, I can't count them. I think maybe 60, 65. I summarized a few of them for the main idea. And you also might know him from his other bestseller, What Great Teachers Do Differently. So I know you also, like me, started out as a math teacher and then a basketball coach in Missouri. And then he served as a principal at the middle, junior, and high school levels. Now you're a professor. He presents all over the world. And okay, let me shut up because you're here to listen to Todd, to not me. But welcome, Todd. We're happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you, Jen. I need to let the audience know this is one of those situations where the introduction's way better than the guest.
And
So
not at all. Not
if
at
they can
all.
lower their expectations, I'll reach every one of them. But it's
You're too humble. We brag on this podcast.
there's nothing humble about me. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here, and we're going to talk about one of your many books, the one I just summarized for this month's edition of The Main Idea, What Great Principals Do Differently, 20 Things That Matter Most. And to me, I read this as kind of the good to great of education. And, what a great idea to look at the difference between what average principals are doing and what great or excellent principals are doing. How'd you get this idea, and how did you go about researching that and finding that answer?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, most of my books are based on research. I just take most of the research out because I'm afraid nobody will read them.
True.
Um, and this stemmed originally from my dissertation, which I looked at exceptional principals and what their practices were in leading change and influencing climate in their schools. And then I went and visited schools with outstanding leaders and schools with the least effective leaders based on feedback from their teachers. And so, believe it or not, I had hundreds of schools respond in which the teachers responded. And you're thinking, well, would they really respond honestly? Well, when I went and visited the school, believe me, they responded honestly on either end. And that's where it came from. And it's just, and a little bit of it stemmed from what great teachers do differently is the fact that, and what great principals do differently is first, but it was because I was terrible in school. And I'm not kidding. I was terrible.
As a student, you mean?
But maybe in K through 16 or K through doctorate, I maybe had 3 or 4 people that I would behave for, that I would pay attention to, that I would listen to. And that's where it was like, wait, what are they doing differently? And that's where the whole idea came from. There's something different about these people. And I always say, the best people think completely different from everyone else. Because if they didn't, they'd be everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's just thinking, and then how do we teach people? Everybody wants to be great. It's just, and you can teach them. It's just a different way of thinking that the highly effective people have than everyone else has. And once we teach them that, people then can choose whether they want to be highly effective or not. But till we teach them, it's really just can the people who can figure it out on their own have to figure it out on their own. And I don't want people to have to figure it out on their own because it's too challenging. And you want to do it quicker than 5 years of stumbling too.
It's a great concept. And the truth is, when you become a teacher, you have seen so many other people teach. But when you become a principal, you often not only start off as a principal, but your whole career, you've only seen one leader, and that's yourself in your own 4 walls.
The biggest
So,
disadvantage a principal has is that they've never worked with a great principal
yes.
because
Yeah.
then they have to figure it out on their own.
And that's
Yep.
what you're doing with this book. You're finding 20 things that great principals do, and you share them. You do share the research in the book, but you also share, anecdotes and make it palatable so all of us can read it while working busy jobs.
Well, that's my goal is just to be palatable.
Was it hard to keep to 20 items when you wrote the book?
Well, originally it was 16, I think. And then that's the third edition you have. And so I've added things in there. And I actually have trimmed certain parts, even if an item stays, maybe make it simpler. I really could do lots of things, and not in the sense of they have to do them all, but just understanding the different ways things affect people. And I'll be honest, we're surrounded by so much average, we start to think average is right.
Mm.
And some of the things that we repeat more than any other stuff, like hire great people and stay out of their way. We have to earn people's respect. All of that's wrong, and but people repeat it all the time. It's like a poor lecturer's classroom. People think the problem's lecture and the problem's poor. But if they don't think like that, they're literally never going to solve things. It's like when people say, well, my veteran teachers, or when my
Mhm.
Gen X teachers, or when my male teachers or my female, and I say, no, you're dividing it wrong. It's effective and ineffective.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I
once you
think,
divide by effective and ineffective, you can solve it. When you divide it by age or experience or tenured or non-tenured, you're never going to solve it.
and I think, well, two other things. I think one, principals are continuing to do things certain ways because it's how they've always been done, right? They've heard that mantra that you said, hire great teachers and stay out. So
It's
they're
not how that's all. It's not how it's always been done. It's
how
how
they
they've
think,
done
how
it.
they
No,
think
it's
it's
how
been
they've
done.
always done it.
And
Yeah.
and then they're exhausted, right? There's the problem where they are doing whatever is in front of them, right? Answering that email, talking to that loudest parent, the loudest teacher. So I
Yeah.
really like that you give them a moment to pause and reflect and think about these items that would make the difference. And some of them I think are honestly counterintuitive. So I kind of want to focus on just a few of them and then break some of those that stereotypical thinking that you've outlined. So I'll just throw out a few to start with. Let's start with one.
Sure.
One of them you say is it's people, not programs. Great principals, according to the research, never forget that it is people, not programs, that determine the quality of a school. So it's the beginning of the school year. I'm sure we got lots of principals there who are like, oh, let's do this more effective SEL program. Oh, this more effective math program. And now you're saying it's not the program. So can you speak to that?
Sure. I actually just spoke this morning to a group, and I asked them, talked about flexible seating, which is a big trend in education. And I asked them, how many of you know at least one highly effective teacher that would be highly effective using flexible seating? Everybody does. How many of you know at least one highly effective teacher that would be highly effective not using flexible seating? Everybody does. How many of you know at least one ineffective teacher that would be ineffective using flexible seating? Everyone does. How many of you know at least one ineffective teacher that would be ineffective not using flexible seating? Everyone does. The variable cannot be flexible seating. And every situation's like that. People talk about stuff like participation trophies. People talk, and they're just wrong all the time. But if you hear other people say it, and it becomes comforting to you. See, ineffective people hope it's participation trophies, because otherwise the problem's you. And I'd like to hang around other ineffective people that we all get together and hug each other and say, once they stop giving participation trophies, I'll be effective. And instead, the best teacher never talks about participation trophies because they know that's not the variable. But average people, see, you wish it was something out of your control. You wish it was kids nowadays.
Sure.
I always say the problem with our country obviously was when we had Elvis, or maybe it was the Beatles, or maybe it was when Hannah Montana changed her name to Miley Cyrus. I don't know. But any of those things, but the best people were the best people before that, the best people that were the best people during that, during the pandemic. With no practice, we go virtual. Okay. How many of you could name three teachers you knew were going to figure it out? Well, everyone can. How many of you knew three teachers you knew were never going to figure it out? And then how many of you realized when we came back in person, the three teachers that couldn't figure it out in virtual haven't figured out in person either? Because it's the same skill set. And we think it's a different skill set. And you can't mandate effectiveness, which is why you have to build, hire, recruit, stroke, nurture effectiveness, because you can't mandate it. We try it all the time and it doesn't work.
So it's that people side you just said very quickly all in one sentence, but you talk a lot about it in the book. But yeah, so focus on your people, hiring the best people, nurturing them, putting the attention. We're going to get back to them, but don't think that it's the program that's going to make the difference. So I think that's great one.
And what happens is we mandate a program.
Yeah.
Ineffective people can't do it correctly. So we do nothing about the ineffective people. So then we outlaw the program.
Yeah.
And we take it away from good people who have figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
And they're sad. So we mandate a new program that the ineffective people still can't do because they don't have the skills.
Yeah.
The good people go ahead and invest in it emotionally. Then it doesn't work for the ineffective people. We do nothing about the ineffective people. So we take away that program too. And that literally is the cycle of life. And the great leaders that stop that completely change their organization. Literally, I don't mean instantly, but I sort of do mean instantly.
Sure.
Now, it's a completely different way to look at the world, and you teach everybody else how to look at that way, and everyone now has found their home. They found this place that is different than all the other places.
Mm, I love that. Yeah, it's exhausting. The initiatives coming and going, and then you're exhausting your best teachers in particular.
Right.
So great. Okay, so it's people, not programs. Another one is, and this is directed at the leader, develop an accurate sense of self. Great principals have clarity about who they are, what they do, and how others perceive them. And in the book, you say that great principals, when they do survey, the great principals think they're doing a great job. Ineffective principals think they're doing a great job. So don't all of us listening to this podcast, we all think we're doing a great job, right? So we must be. So what are you saying that we should be doing if we all think we're doing a great job?
Sure. Well, there's a couple of things. One of them is we actually have developed for free, if anybody wants them, teacher evaluations to give to students, not teacher evaluations that goes in your permanent record, not that it has anything to do with pay, that for students. Well, that would be a way to see, is my perception of myself like my students' perception of me? And the same way we have instruments where teachers complete for how effective the principal is or isn't. That's one way if you want to do it formally.
Mm-hmm.
The other way is in a school, you only have a few people that will look you in the eye and tell you the truth. And they're your very best people. And they're also on your side. So they don't even want to hurt your feelings. They want to really guide you. They're trying to hold your hand and move you in the right direction. And if you can, and what's interesting is they're what I call superstars, if you've read any of my books. But what's interesting is average principals don't want them because they know.
Mm-hmm.
They know you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So you're insecure. But if you can get over that and realize they really want to help you. And what happens is this is, again, you have to sort out people. They're not the same. Great people, there's only a few people in a school that are always on the side of the principal. There's only a few. There's a lot that are on the side of the principal when they're in a good mood, when things are going well, the start of the school year.
Sure.
And then there's a few people that are seldom, if ever, on the side of the principal unless there's some narrow thing they're getting out of it. But the best people, and what happens is the very best people have a very wide vision. They can picture the whole school. They don't think about what's best for me. They think about what's best for the school.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things they know that's best for the school is the principal being successful.
Yeah.
So they literally will go and help you. I remember I was a high school principal at 25, and I remember a kid got sent to the office, and I didn't know what to do. I never even thought about a teacher sending a kid to the office. I was sent to the office as a student, but as a teacher, I never sent anyone.
Yeah.
And I thought, what do I do? So I went to my very best teacher, the very best teacher, and I asked her what I should do. And she goes, well, the first thing is treat it if it's a big deal, because it's a big deal to the teacher. Even if it's stupid, it's a big deal to the teacher. The second thing is always beat the student home first. So in other words, the phone is your best friend unless it's ringing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the student get the first word with the parent. You get the first word with the parent. And then get back with the teacher personally to let them know what you did so the teacher feels supported. Well, that's unbelievable advice. But if I hadn't asked that teacher, I don't know if I would have ever figured it out on my own.
Yes.
But I couldn't ask an average teacher because their response would have been what you should do for me, not what you should do for the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's, and every question you can do that, everything.
Yeah.
And the best people will look you in the eye, tell you the truth, and they're never part of the rumor mill.
Yeah. Well, first I want to tell our listeners that anecdotes like the one you just shared about going to that teacher to ask for help with the student center office, these are all, throughout the books, the book, if you'd like to read. So it's not just the research, but it's these great anecdotes too. So the book feels like Todd is there mentoring you and telling you, here are all the great things that you should be doing. And so you're saying that principals should go to their best teachers and ask them for the feedback. And it's true. I know from Tara Urich's research that only 15% of people are truly self-aware. And we all think it's us, but there's 85% out there. So clearly we're not. And so it's time to get some real feedback. And I love that idea of going to those who are the strongest. They don't think you're going to fire them. They have the least to lose, and they'll give you that honest feedback.
Well, you know what's weird? They're not even worried if you're going to fire them because they have the least to lose. Because they could do anything, because the skill set they have allows them to do anything.
Sure.
I always said my best teacher, I could literally, if I was around her, she had the ability to tell me I really smelled funny in a way that I could thank her. I'd run home and shower I came back, I would be
Wow.
around her because I knew she'd tell me if I didn't smell any better. And it's
Wow.
the gift of being able to share it in a way that you can accept it. It
Yeah.
isn't just sharing it because people could do it in a mean fashion. It's
Yeah.
sharing it in a way you could accept it because they want you to be successful too. And that's a rare gift by the people who
That
provide
is
that
rare.
feedback.
Well, I know a lot of middle school guidance counselors who are asked to talk to students about their smell. So maybe we need to recruit your former teacher. She's got a skill. Uh, great. Okay. So
And
we
you know what? And the good guidance counselors can do it, and the bad guidance counselors can't do it. And it's not because of the counselors.
yes, yes. My husband is one of them. So another tip that you have in the book is to, and this again, I think it's a bit counterintuitive, base every decision you make as a leader on your best teachers. Before making any decision or attempting to bring about any change, great principals ask themselves, what will my best teachers think of this? Now, this was totally counterintuitive to me. Like, they're doing fine. So don't you want to make decisions based on your teachers who are struggling more? So explain that to us.
Okay, well, first of all, if your best teachers are doing fine, they're not that good. There's plenty of fine. Your best teachers are doing excellent. They are changing the world. There's
Mm,
lots of fine. And
yeah.
many principals are happy with fine.
Mm.
You know what I say? I'm glad they are because they can take all my fine. Every person who comes out and fine, they can have, I want great. But you
Mm,
know what I want great? Because we're in education.
mm,
Because
mm.
that's what I want for my kids. That's what I want for your kids. That's what I want for every student who comes. I don't want fine.
So let
In
me,
in
yeah. So
in
this, so
all
they're
other
doing great. They're
professions,
doing excellently. My great teachers are doing
yes.
excellently. So why would I make all of my decisions based on them?
Well, what's interesting is it's because of their perspective is so broad. They view the whole world as a thing. They want the whole world to be successful because they see the world as an unlimited sum game, so everyone can be successful.
Mm,
I'll give you a couple of examples here, I think, if this is helpful. It's like when I went and asked the best teacher what I should do when a kid got sent to the office.
mhm,
They're literally saying, they're not saying if I send them, they're sending them, here's what we should do no matter who sends them. But
mm,
think about this. My first book was dealing with difficult teachers.
mhm.
My very first book, because I'm a middle school guy and you can't hide a crummy teacher at a middle school because every day the kids are on the hunt for weakness.
Yeah.
And anyhow, here's what I've learned. I deal with an ineffective teacher when my best teachers want me to deal with the ineffective teacher. But they want me to deal with them with professional respect and regard. So,
Mhm,
for example, if I have a school that starts at 8 o'clock and teachers are supposed to be there at 7:30, but the kids don't get there till 8, my best teacher doesn't care if another teacher gets there at 7:35. You have teachers that care because they're in everybody else's business, but my best teachers don't care because it doesn't affect the kids. My best teachers care if a teacher gets to class 2 minutes late on a consistent basis because
mhm,
it affects the kids.
mm,
So, which of those two things should I be dealing with?
mm.
The teacher who sticks their nose in everybody else's business may care more about the 7:35 than not leaving their class covered. But partly they care because they leave their class uncovered, so they don't want me dealing with another teacher who uses their class uncovered,
Mhm.
if that makes any sense.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it's just that's how you handle. Think about this. It's everything is the same. The great teachers treat the students like the great principals treat the teachers.
Mhm.
In a classroom, the kids that are teacher pleasers want the teacher to deal with the students that are disruptive, disrespectful, but
Yes.
they want them to do it in a professional and respectful manner.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same way there. So to find out whether they feel like it's at the point I need to deal with it, I need to ask them. One time I had a thing where our teachers got done at 3 o'clock and they were supposed to stay till 3:30. And this is the plan in the school. And I had a solid teacher, not great, solid teacher come up and say some of the teachers are leaving early on Friday. And I go, who in particular? And she mentioned the worst teacher in the school was leaving early on Friday, not leaving kids unsupervised, but they were supposed to stay till 3:30.
Yeah.
And I told her name was Barb, and I loved her. I said, Barb, I'll make you a deal. I want you to think about this weekend. Would keeping this teacher here for an extra 5 minutes on Friday make your life better? Because if it is, I'll hide in the parking lot with a periscope and keep an eye on them. Do that. Or would it be better if I actually started their car in the winter and pulled it around to the front of the building? Because the sooner we can get them out, the better off we are. But I'm going to do this, Barb, on what you think because I don't care. I'm happy to do with them. Doesn't bother me at all. I don't care. She came in Monday and goes, I think leaving early 5 minutes probably makes everybody a little happier in the school. But see, if that didn't make her satisfied, I'm going to deal with that teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to deal with that teacher
Yeah.
because I'm going to do it because I can't let her be concerned.
Yeah. And you let her know that. Yeah.
Right. And I really meant it. I was
Yeah.
100% serious. I'm like, you want me to take her on? Let's go. I'll do it.
You're
And
serious.
she
And
goes,
also
no,
very funny. You must have been a hoot of a principal, Todd.
no, I don't know. I'm something. But it really is the fact that she realizes I'd actually be, it's like I'm actually happier if she's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, great, because
Yeah.
I'm worried about you being happy.
Yeah.
But if that was something where she's leaving kids unsupervised, dropping her responsibility, whatever, I'm going to deal with it because then the good teacher wouldn't like her being dumped on.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I don't ask her, I'm just guessing this is what she wants. Instead, I asked her and I wanted her to think. And then, in addition, just the fact that she knew I would do what she wanted is a huge confidence giver.
Yes. The way you phrased it. Exactly. Or the
Right?
way. Yeah.
No, I just want to do what she wants.
Yeah.
So if
So
that
make
makes
those decisions based on your best teachers, not your
every decision,
every decision.
every decision. Yep.
Every decision.
And you'll never make a wrong decision.
Yeah. Wonderful. So another thing you say, and this makes sense at the beginning, right? Treat everyone with respect every day, all the time. Okay, everyone will agree with that when they read that. But Todd, sometimes I have a tough meeting or a tough day. Isn't it okay if I lose my cool once? Or, do you really mean all the time?
I really do mean all the time because then when you do it once, you cross that line and you want to try to repair and you're more likely to not do it again because of the fact that's the standard. You know, I don't I don't go after someone because one time they didn't. I don't go after anyone. I
Mhm.
just have conversations
Mhm.
and help them understand that we don't do this in the school. We don't act like this in the school. We just don't. But the best teacher, if they lose their cool, what do? They apologize to the kid.
Yeah.
They make casseroles and take it to the kid's parents over the weekend. I mean,
Yeah. No, I mean you when
so,
you say I mean the leader. In the book, you say, the leader 100% every time.
oh, right, exactly. Well, because your worst day becomes ineffective people's best day.
Yeah.
The day you're smart aleck and rude, that doesn't allow them, that tells them this is how you want people to treat people. And
Mhm.
I can't do that. I just can't do it. And if I do it, I'm going to correct and apologize. But see, that's also setting the standard.
Mhm.
The fact that I'm apologizing, I'm repairing it. I ask them to let me know if they feel like I do it again. Please
Yeah.
keep an eye on me. I botch up all the time because I'm kind of a goofball and I
Mhm.
need you. So all of those things are 10 days out of 10.
Yeah.
Your best teacher may roll their eyes at a kid, but then the next day they're going, I'm very sorry if I rolled my eyes yesterday. I shouldn't have done that. But
Mm.
part of that is accurate self-awareness.
Goes back to that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I
Everything's
also
connected.
like how you described it as the leader, you're the filter. So you do have a really tough parent conversation, district meeting, whatever you have. You bump into a teacher in the hall who says, "How are you?" And in the book you say, "I'm great. It's a great
Right.
day." So
Right.
how is that different from toxic positivity, or what's the difference
Right.
between being a filter versus
Okay. One thing is, I think an awareness of what I'm doing.
mm,
I think maybe, first of all, toxic positivity is one of those things people make up. They just make it up. You know why? Because they want to be toxic negativity. See, so
okay.
I want you to feel bad being positive because my life sucks and I hate the world and everyone hates me. So the worst teacher's goal is not to become the best teacher. The worst teacher's goal is to become the second worst teacher.
Mm,
So they try to break somebody else down to be worse than them, and then the pressure's off them.
yeah.
How many people do you know are just too positive and too kind and too caring, and you're just sick of them? Or how many people do you know who are rude, smart aleck, disrespectful, negative all the time, whine, complain? Which of those two do you have more people in that camp?
Unfortunately, the latter. I love the former. Yeah.
But do you see the latter would like people in the former to not because it makes them worse?
Yeah.
I always say, do you know anyone that if you ask them on the first day back from summer break
Hmm.
or any weekend how their weekend was, they're going to say something negative?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because anything negative. They always say something negative. But
Right.
as a principal, I teach my teachers this at the start of the year.
Hmm.
Don't be that person
Yeah.
because people will not like you.
Yes.
I mean it. They will not like you. I
Yeah.
had to teach that way. I had to be that way with my teacher, with my students, and my students love me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I go, if you do that, no one's going to like you.
And kids aren't going to learn from adults they don't like. They
No, and I say it nice, and no one's
Yeah.
going to do that. And they go, I never thought about that. And kids would stay after class and go, did I do that today? And I go, nope, A plus. I mean, and it isn't for me. When you ask me, how's my day? I say, great. I do it for you. I don't do it for me.
Mm.
I'm the leader. I
Hmm.
do it for you
Yeah. Yep.
because it doesn't help you. That's the only reason. But
That's
I'll give you an example that just happened at a major airport last week in the United States. And I'm going to try to describe this real quick if I can. I'm in a line and there's two X-ray machines you go through, but the one on the right's closed. It's clearly closed. There's signs. It's covered. There's no one can think it's open.
Yes.
Everyone's going to the left. Someone comes in from the back of the line and immediately goes to the line on the right. The TSA person goes, that one's closed. Well, of course they knew it. So they bring their stuff and move it right behind me. I was the first one. And I turned and I said to them, I said, everyone has seen you do this. Everyone in this line right now literally hates you. They think you are so disrespectful and so rude. So what I would do is I were you, because I'm going to stand here and talk until you move back to the place where you're supposed to be. And they did. And what's funny is somebody goes, that wasn't nice. And I go, yes, it was nice to the people they cut in front of.
Mm.
See, the people doing right don't get protected.
Mm.
It was nice. And I
Mhm.
didn't, that person humiliated themselves. I
Yeah.
just brought it to their attention of what everyone's thinking of them. And
Yeah.
they have a chance to repair it.
Yes.
But what happens as a leader, see, I'm not worried about the people who intentionally do negative things. I'm
Yeah.
worried about the people that are affected by the people that intentionally do things. And
Yes.
if that person had said, even if it was a lie, would have said, I'm late for my flight, because I've asked people to let me in front of them. I've let a million people in front, because if you travel all the time,
Sure.
I mean, there's times all the time where you're in a hurry, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to know what everyone else thinks of them, because they may not have been aware.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it to protect the good people. So when people talk about toxic positivity, I bring up the fact that most likely people to do that are toxic negative people,
Yeah.
because they want you to join their negative people. Always have a bowling shirt in your size to bring you to the negative club.
Yeah.
They always have room on their Tuesday night leg.
Yeah. So you as
Yeah.
the leader, you're stepping up like you did in that TSA line, and you are calling people on their negativity, and you look like you do it with no trouble. I know it's hard for some leaders to do that, but for the benefit of the people
Right.
behind them in line, for the
Do you,
benefit of the other teachers and
do you
this.
think the good people in line like that I did that?
Absolutely. As
I
they
make
were
every
they
decision
cheering
based
you?
on
Was there some
I make
applause?
every decision based on the best people.
Yeah,
And is there even a chance that that person who did it may be a little more hesitant the next time?
you hope so. Exactly.
At the least, they're looking for me.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
looking
So
for the
make
goofy
those
guy with the moose in his
decisions.
hair to see if there's any chance that he's in line
Yeah.
there. That's what they're
Yeah.
doing. So,
No, that's a great example for both. Make the decisions for the
yeah,
best people, and then also to that filter and that positive side. I really like
yeah,
the idea that you're saying things are great, not for you, but for the other
right.
people.
I just tweeted the other day, I don't know that being positive solves problems. I don't
Mm.
know. I do know being negative doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So I eliminate the negative because I know it doesn't, while I'm trying to figure out the way to do it.
and it may fan the flames of negativity and make things worse too. So that is,
Especially as a leader.
yeah, yeah. All right, I want to talk about a few things where we're recording this in late August, so it's the beginning of the year for many schools, many school leaders. So something else you say in the book is set the expectations at the start of each year. Set clear expectations at the start of every year, follow them consistently. But and you give an example about doing an exercise around classroom management with your teachers, but haven't teachers been, they know this, right? Why do you need to reset that every year when obviously they've had to deal with classroom management or all the other expectations every year? Why do you do it each year?
Well, one thing is there's always new people.
Mhm.
And the other thing is everyone in your school doing it? If not, I have to reset it. And what's funny is like I lay out in our school, we don't argue, we don't yell, we don't use sarcasm. And I lay out why we don't do those three things.
Mhm.
And what's strange is you might think I'm doing it for the people who argue, yell, and use sarcasm. That's incorrect. I'm doing it for the people who don't.
Yeah.
Because guess which teachers start to doubt themselves more than any other teachers in a school? The good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because see, what happens is the imposter syndrome is an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's most likely to have imposter syndrome? Great people. And the
Yeah.
reason is because great people compare themselves to perfection. Average people compare everyone else to perfection.
Mm.
So average people don't feel any imposter syndrome because they're saying, you're no good, you're no good, you're no good. Great people compare themselves to perfection and they're thinking, I'm no good, I'm no good, I'm no good.
Mm.
And it's because they compare themselves to perfection, which is why they're so exceptional.
Mm.
That's why they're so good related to that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And it's confidence is the most valuable gift a leader can give. So I'm giving confidence. But what happens is when a great teacher hears we don't argue, we don't yell, we don't use sarcasm, you know what they think? I knew that was right. I knew that was right because I'm giving them the gift of confidence.
Yes. You're
So
reinforcing. Yeah.
you never get tired of hearing that.
Sure.
My wife and I have been married for 37 years. Okay.
Congratulations. Yes.
Well, congratulations to her. It's a lot more work for her than me. You know what's weird? You know what's weird? She still likes it if I say she looks pretty.
Mm-hmm.
She still likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me why, she does.
Yep.
So if you believe as a teacher, we don't argue, we don't yell, we don't use sarcasm, do you resent a leader who brings that up in a way to help round the people around you who haven't fallen into that path?
No. And
And it's that. The other thing is, do you ever play card games, board games, that kind of stuff?
love them. Yeah. Former math
Okay,
teacher, of course.
great. Okay, well, there's I love math too. You know what? There's three kinds of people in this world: those who love math and those who don't. Anyhow, that's a no, that's a joke for your non-math teachers.
I haven't
Um,
heard that one. I got to use that.
uh, the um, if you're going to play a new game, when do you want to know the rules?
Before.
Before it starts.
Before
And
it's
you know what? Unless you're going to cheat, you want to know the rules before it starts.
yeah, I'm not going to cheat.
So how on earth do I not lay, right, because you're a high achiever. How
Yeah.
on earth do I not lay these expectations out?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
just a reminder. And your best people are going, yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. And they're sitting up straight and tall.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
And
I
so
think
that's
a couple
what I come.
things. One, I've read that leaders need to reiterate things 7 times before people really hear them. But
That's
also,
literally made up. So anyhow, keep that in mind.
it's made up, you said?
Yeah, they just chose seven out of random.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah.
me.
But
Yeah.
but the idea that you can't just say things once, but also it's what's important. So you give the example, and I think it's in the book. Maybe I'm making this up. You have a teenager getting into a car, right? You're going to say, be safe, be home by this time, no drinking and driving, right? Of course you've said that to your kid before, but it's
Right.
so important. It's so important you're going to say it again. And kids, even if they're frustrated or roll their eyes at you, of course they understand. They
Right.
understand you love them and want them to be alive. So if
Right.
these are your most important expectations, of course it makes sense to say them, and everybody understands that each
Well,
year.
the other thing is, I think you can say it once if people do it, and then you reinforce them
Yeah.
because then they could think of it this way. And I'm going to use the word secretary, which is hillbilly. So keep that in mind. There's a million different, but everyone knows what I'm saying when I say secretary, even if it flinches at the wordage, verbiage.
Okay.
If I'm a new principal, I'm new to the building. I could have been a principal before. I'm new to the building.
Yep.
Did you know my secretary wants to know how I want him or her to answer the phone until they answer the phone? Once they answer the phone, they don't want to know how I want them to answer the phone because now I'm correcting their behavior.
So do it
And
before.
what's interesting is the better they are, the more they want to know. And the reason's very simple. The very best people that are receptionists, secretaries, whatever you call the office manager role, the very best people, they get a new boss. They want the boss to know they're better than everybody else. They want them to know, I'm going to be the best secretary you've ever had. There's never going to be anybody like me. And they're waiting for a chance to prove that.
Mm-hmm.
And I give them words to use when we answer the phone. Before they answer the phone, they'll never miss it.
Yep.
But if I let them answer the phone like they've been doing it for a week and now I correct them, they'll never forget it, the high achievers. And in 7 years, when we leave, we'll have a retirement reception for one of us. And you know what they'll bring up? That first week they were there.
Yeah. And that's why I want to do this podcast with you now, because you talk about the importance of the beginning of the year. That the earlier you do things, rather than correcting people, you're laying out the expectations. So I know across the US, many schools have started. I'm in New York. We have not started. But
Right.
to think about to do things as early as you can so that it's not correction mode, as you say, but it is expectation mode.
And with people that don't do what's right, we have to know, are they ignorant or insubordinate? And we almost always think they're insubordinate. They're almost always ignorant.
I
And
like to
ignorant,
think of it as skill or will. I guess it's the
it,
same thing. Is it
you know,
skill or will?
that's anyhow. And ignorant doesn't mean stupid. It
No.
means unaware of how to do it.
Yeah.
I have to teach my teachers what we do at assemblies before we have assemblies.
Yes.
Or else there's a group of teachers in the back standing against the wall, texting on their phone, grading papers, and they don't even know they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And partly because you had them student teach with someone average.
Mm.
And thus they thought average was right.
Hmm.
So I teach them before the assembly what we do during an assembly. The good people aren't offended by this because the good people have been doing it anyhow. But they're tired of having to watch two classes because one of the teachers leaves the room.
Yeah.
Well, now if a teacher leaves the room, do I know if they're ignorant or insubordinate?
Exactly. Yeah.
They're doing it intentionally. And
Yeah.
now it's so much easier for me to deal with them conscious free. I'm never going to be rude, but I
Hmm.
deal with them conscious free because they're doing it on purpose. They know what's right and they're choosing wrong.
They're
But
choosing.
right now, what happens is you think they're choosing wrong, but they don't know they're choosing wrong because nobody's ever laid it out. This is right and this is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is connected to another thing that you said, which again, at first seems counterintuitive, which is to focus on behavior, meaning teacher behavior, and then focus on beliefs, right? And we so often hear when you're doing workshops, make sure teachers know the why. And you're saying, no, start with the behavior. So you've been talking about behavior. So why do you start with the behavior rather than the beliefs?
Okay. In a great teacher's classroom, every student thinks they're the favorite.
Mm.
And can I tell you a secret? They're
Hmm.
not. They're not.
Yes.
They act like they like all the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that they hate the kids. I'm not talking about anything mean, but they act like they like all the kids,
The best teachers. Yes.
the best teachers. And so I don't know that I can get the best teacher to like the least likable kid who's rude
Hmm.
and disrespectful, but they can sure act like it.
Yeah.
And what's funny is if you start to act like that, you feel like it much more. I work with retail and I work with a group of retail clerks the other day. And I said, one guideline is never treat the next customer like the last customer treated you.
Hmm.
If it's a negative, you have to filter it out.
Yeah.
And so it's really just, I'm a big believer in praise and I teach people, all my books are the same thing. I've written 65 books. They're all the same. How do you get people to do what it is you want them to do?
Motivation. Yeah. Yeah.
How to get people to do what it is you want them to do. I don't even know if it's motivation. I think
Yeah.
there's other stuff besides motivation, but
Okay.
how to get people to do what it is you want them to do. That's all I know, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
And so if I can get you to try practices that I know will be more effective, even if you don't believe in them, even if you've never heard of them, even if you think it's silly and you do it and it works,
Yeah.
then you start to believe in them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
But
give the example in the book about if you want your teachers to make phone calls home to families.
right. But
As
I
a,
have them come in and hear my phone calls. I
Mhm.
literally have them hear my phone calls. I've made positive phone calls in front of the whole faculty before. So they could hear what that's like, hear the wording, hear how to do it, hear what they say, because that gives you confidence. And see, and I don't think it's motivation. I think knowledge is the best motivation.
Mm, I think so too, but my husband often disagrees with me. But yes, so I love that. Yeah. So focus on the behavior, get them making those positive phone calls home, and then hopefully it changes the beliefs. But what you're saying is even if it doesn't, then you've got them making positive phone calls home, and that's what you wanted.
I don't know which teacher loves the kid the most, but I can tell you which teacher acts like they love the kids the most.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah. Good point.
I'll take
Okay, we're coming to the end. I'll do two more.
it.
Be respectful of your time. Another thing you say is that leadership is not an event.
Right.
So great principles know leadership's not an event. It takes consistent, effective leadership to improve a school's climate and then eventually culture, right? So you have a principal do something fun and goofy, get a pie in the face because kids have whatever, read 500 books. Great. That changes the climate, the feeling of the day. But to change the culture, talk a little bit about that. And
Sure, you can have average teachers that have one unbelievable lesson.
sure.
You can have one. We used to have a teacher that would do something around the Civil War. It was the greatest lesson in that. Before that week, it was terrible. After that week, it was terrible. But that week was great.
Mm-hmm.
But the best people, it isn't an event.
Mm-hmm.
If a principal kisses a pig, that's an event.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not opposed to it. I like events. But understand when the principal kisses the pig, people are going to laugh. And
Yeah.
if they're no good, they're laughing at you. If you're good, they're laughing with you. But either way, they're laughing, and you don't know which of the two it is.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have a child? Okay, I compare it a little bit to this. It's like an absent father who sends their kids tons of Christmas presents,
Nice analogy.
you know? And what's weird is sometimes that hurts worse than if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because you realize they do know they're doing it on purpose. They could do this. And as a leader, I want my teachers to feel respected, to feel supported, to feel nurtured, to feel cared for by me as the leader every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if I have an event, it really means something.
Hmm.
If I don't do that every day, when I have an event, it actually means nothing.
Yeah.
It seems like a false effort on my part.
Yeah. It's a harder path, but it's right to show up consistently day after day for your faculty, for your students. It's a harder path, but it is the more
But it's only a harder path when you start, because what happens is people behave better, people are more cooperative, people want to please you too. It's really an easier path once that path gets started.
Yeah.
And doing the right thing, it's amazing how that makes everything better.
Yeah.
But if it hasn't been done, it really is. If you change today, you change the climate. If you never change back, you change the culture.
What I like about that also is it opens up the model of school leadership for different types of leaders. It's not just the flashy leader who comes dressed
Right.
as, the 19th century character, right? Or who gets the pie in the face or kisses the pig, right? It's the more quiet leaders who show up and consistently do the right thing, make the right choices, the best decisions. So I appreciate that for opening up a wider range.
It's the drum beat.
Yeah.
It's that steady drum beat.
Yes.
But I don't want to put down principals that also do events,
Of course.
teachers that also do events, people that also, that's not a negative. That doesn't take away from anything. It just doesn't mean anything if you don't have that foundational piece of stability, support, and care. But if you do, it's amazing what that means. That then an event really means something. But if you
Yeah.
don't have the event, you still mean something. And I think that's really the critical piece.
In the beginning of your book, you say that some people, they read your book each year in preparation for the school year, but I think it would also be a good thing to read it maybe in December, January, in the middle too, as a reminder, because a lot of what you're saying is about consistency and repetition. So I think it might be a good boost then too. I'll do one final thing just to end on a nice positive note, but I love this one that you have. Great principles make it cool to care. And you say in the research, and we haven't referenced a lot of the research, we're talking more anecdotally, but all of these items that we're discussing are based on research, but principals who are steeped in their values and convey those values. And so for you, one year, or you started making it cool to care, because caring was a very important value to you. As our last item can you say something about how do you make it cool to care, or why is that so important, or isn't that kind of fluffy?
Sure. One thing is we've all gone through school as a child, as a youngster, teenager, whatever. And all of us wanted to be at the cool table. We all wanted to be at the cool kids table. And some of us were, some of us weren't, but we all wanted to be there. In my school as a leader, I help the teachers understand how you get to be at the cool table. And it isn't that you were a high school quarterback, and it isn't that you have lots of money, and it isn't that you dress more attractively. And those are not negatives. Those are nothings. Those have no impact of who gets to sit at the cool table. So I'm constantly teaching my teachers how we get to be at the cool kids table. And I'll give you an example. I talk about greeting kids, and I talk about the importance of greeting kids, but greeting kids can be hi-oh, can be high fives, but it can also be just the caring teacher who smiles at every kid. It can be anything, but greeting kids. Well, then what I have to do is I have to help remind you, I have to integrate it so that the first day of school, greeting kids is pretty easy, but in mid-February, it kind of gets a little old. But I'll write in my Friday focus, if you've read Motivate, Inspire, single best leadership tool I've ever used in my life, the Friday focus. I write in my Friday focus 3 weeks after the school year starts, 3 months after the school year starts, it doesn't matter. I write in my Friday focus things like this. I don't know how you all do it. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing. Earlier this week, I'm walking down the hallway and teacher after teacher is greeting the kids, smiling, making them feel warm, making them feel welcome, making them feel special. You all are truly amazing. And I'm going to let you know a secret. You all are the reason the kids like coming here to school so much. And I also need to let you know you all are the reason I like coming here to school so much. Thanks for what you do. Am I telling you how you get to sit at the cool teacher's table? What do you need to do as a cool? Oh, greet the kids. Is that something you could do? And you see, I'm reinforcing it, and it's you caring, and you make a difference. But if I do that once a year and nothing else, it isn't the same thing. This is the drumbeat. This
Mm-hmm.
is what we value. This is what's special. My Friday focus, I'll have things like um, a quote, and it'll say, "Your teachers are really nice. You're lucky." And the quote is, "Overheard a mom talking at open house night. Overheard a mom talking to her daughter at open house night. Your teachers are really nice. You're lucky."
Mm-hmm.
Overheard them. Which teacher thinks that was them? But more than that, do you know what I value from that quote? Being nice.
Yeah.
Did I tell you to be nice? Did I ask you to be nice? No. You know why? You want to sit at the cool kids' table. And you know what the cool teachers are doing? Being nice.
I love it. It's a great place to end. And you really do well, if your theme of all of your books is how to get people to do what you want them to do. You put care right up there. The care and emotions are a huge motivator. You give an example in the book, I think, of let's say someone's afraid of flying, right? But what's going to get them in a plane if a loved one is in distress, health problems, right? That'll get them in a plane. The care, the concern. So I think that's a great note to end on in building the care this year. I hope that listeners have gotten a lot of ideas from you. Clearly you speak, you do keynotes all the time. If people want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, where should they go, Todd?
Well, they can either go through my probation officer or I have a website, toddwhitaker.com. I don't have any people. I don't have associates. I don't sell bracelets. I don't sell t-shirts. Toddwhitaker.com. On Twitter, I'm at Todd Whitaker. Instagram, I'm Todd Whitaker1. If they just want to visit. And the other thing is, I offer this every time I speak. If you ever just want to visit, just talk. Call me or email me anytime. I always say teaching is the most isolated profession, and you're
Mhm.
never alone.
Mm,
Leadership is a very isolated thing, and you may never be alone, but at times you're lonely.
mm.
And I'm a neutral outsider. I'll just share with you my perspective. I'll never know if you do it. You won't hurt my feelings. It doesn't make any difference to me. I always say, if you're on the side of the kids, I'm on the side of you.
Well,
So if I can ever
very
help, touch base anytime.
that is very generous that you can just call up Todd Whitaker for a talk. Any leaders out there, that is much appreciated. Your warmth and your care come through. So thank you so much for this time. And yeah, I just appreciate everything about you, your work, your books, what you put out in the world of educational leadership has really impacted schools, leaders, teachers, and students. So thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
It's an honor for me to be here. And I just appreciate the leaders taking care of their teachers, because the teachers will take care of the students. And I just appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. Thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the School Leadership Show, a podcast for aspiring and practicing school leaders. Send your comments, questions, and show ideas to me, Mike, at schoolleadershipshow.com. And please consider rating the podcast in iTunes and leaving a comment. And definitely pass the show along to your colleagues.